our next panel is called How to Build Retention Through Connecting Across Multiple Platforms. And a question to think about for our founder-made community as we're moving into the panel is, what platform do you think is the strongest for you? Would love to hear. Remember to keep talking in that chat box. And Alana, would love to introduce you. You are part of the Founder-Made community, part of the Founder-Made family for years, so we're so excited to have you back. You're a founding member of Guild City. You built the business from the ground up. Also, Benvolio, you invest in so many great companies. We would love to have you talk about that too. So Alana, please take it away.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me. I wear a few hats. I have been advising Founder-Made since day one. I was at the first summit many years ago and continue to be a fan and supporter of everything they do. I also have my own consulting firm, A Founders Lab, where I work generally in marketing with smaller brands, and a family office called Benvolio Group, where we make investments in consumer growth companies. And we have an amazing panel here today. We're going to talk about retention and how to do that across multiple channels. So I'd love for us to go around and everybody spend like 30 or 45 seconds just introducing yourself and telling us what company you work for and what your company does. So Brian, you want to start?
Yeah, happy to. Hi, my name is Brian Rance. Came from the agency world. Now I'm on the software side. I work at Cordial. We're a cross-channel marketing platform, so email, SMS, mobile push, but we really have a focus on unifying your customer data.
Okay, Ben.
Hello, everyone. Glad to be back. Ben here. I'm just glad to be back. So I'm Ben. I'm president and co-founder of Octane AI. We are the zero-party data marketing platform. And what that means is we power the ability to collect this direct data from customers, just what you're hearing a little bit before about needing to not rent your relationships from Facebook. We help you do that. We power the shop quiz, which lets you build a dynamic, beautiful quiz on your site. And we just announced a new product yesterday, which we'll talk about, to let you do that through pop-ups as well. We also are known for powering Facebook Messenger, which is like what we originally started with. And we recently won Shopify's award for the best storefront app in all of Shopify. So
congrats. That's awesome. Emmett, I keep getting your pattern ads ever since I did a little research on you. So you're doing something right every day.
Yeah, I guess acquisition will be another conversation, but yeah, I'm Emmett and help run a business called Pattern Brands right now. Which is a family of brands focused in the home goods. So open spaces for home organization, equal parts for home cooking, and recently a company called Gear, but spelled GIR, which is an acronym for Get It Right, that we acquired in. And prior to that, helped co-found and run digital creative agency, Gin Lane, which worked with a lot of startups in the consumer world.
Awesome. Last but not least, Dana, who just released her first book.
I'm unmuting. Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me. I am Dana Pollock, CEO and founder of Dana's Bakery. Used to be a photo editor, quit my job, went to culinary school, opened up the bakery. But 10 years ago, when we were one of the first ever online exclusive bakeries, now everybody is online, but we were one of the first. And like I said, I just have the cookbook that came out. But Emmett, we partnered with Gear. You can't see the spatula because of my green screen, but we partnered with Gear for our send out. So I couldn't say enough wonderful things about this product right here, but it's a pleasure to be here and nice to meet you all.
Awesome. So I think before we can talk about retaining customers, I think a natural place to start is acquisition. So I want to talk briefly about that. I want to talk about how you acquire customers. I'd love to go around and everybody give like one thing that like works to really acquire customers. You know, people who are listening have their own small businesses. They want to know how they can get new customers. I mean, that's the hardest thing in the game, right? Other than retention. So I'd love to just hear from a few of you or all of you, one or two things that you think has really worked to, you know, get customers from the onset. Who wants to start? Emmett?
Yeah, I can say, I guess, a few things. I'll say like the nerdy, sophisticated stuff, but then I'll say maybe the more like relatable, normal things. I think like so as Dana had talked on gear, and I had mentioned, we just bought a brand and brought them in, and to kind of do that, I spoke on the phone to like 300 companies, the founders of like small to medium sized Shopify based ecom businesses, and people that have not raised money, they've built it with their partner or themselves, and have gotten it to a few million in revenue, and they're not ripping around spending tons of money on sophisticated ad spends, and how they've gotten to millions of dollars of profitable revenue is building really damn good products. And I think it's just something that's important to kind of note is you can do all the magic of marketing, but if you sell the sizzle and you don't sell the steak, it's going to be hard to kind of keep it going. And so I think just at a base level, it's always a good caveat to, if you really build a great product and you focus on great customer experience, which we'll get to the retention marketing side, people will do a lot of work for you for free, which is always more cost effective than some of the more complex ways of dealing with the duopoly and the day trading of pushing levers up and down to figure out how to navigate acquisition marketing from a paid perspective.
Anyone have anything to add? Brian?
Yeah, I think just like the messaging, right? Making the acquisition experience personal. One of the brands we work with, Tom's, right, obviously has like a strong social mission. So even part of the opt-in experience, would let you choose the cause that you are passionate about, like clean water or whatever. I mean, just like any personalized message, it needs to add value, right? Or like 1-800-CONTACTS. If they notice you're looking at contacts for a while, they ask, hey, would you like us to save this for you? But obviously you can take a brute force approach. Let's say if we focus on a website and just see how many times you can pop that window up to get them to opt in, or you can think, okay, what would be something I could offer in this acquisition that would be valuable to the customer?
Got it. Ben or Dana? Dana?
Yeah, for me, we built our business on social media. When I started, I didn't do all of the marketing and acquisition that I'm doing now. So, Emmett is right. You need to have a great product. If you have a great product that you can stand behind, people will be more likely to work with you. Also, direct to consumer, you are your own advocate. So if you have a great product and you send it to someone, they're going to love it, send it to other people. It just helps grow your base just from jump. And also you have to be authentic, right? So if I'm going to partner with someone or I'm going to do something, it has to align with my mission, my goal. It has to be on brand. It's so obvious when people do things and they're doing it for the wrong reasons, or like it doesn't make sense. They're just doing it because they think that they should, or it's going to really help them out. It has to be a nice synergy. So I think that that's really important as well.
Ben, do you have anything you want to add?
You're probably everyone, look, you're not hearing from, there's no magic silver bullet that's going to suddenly get you all the people. And so people are talking about like, yes, product matter, like every little piece of it matters. And we won't have a silver bullet. But one thing I had this conversation with one of our customers a couple of days ago, Tracy Martin. They do like the skincare for like Rihanna and for like a lot of other major names, right? And like, it's not just about like the ads mattered. We can go into the nitty gritty in a little bit, but it's also like, who do you have that can evangelize on your behalf? And not everyone should have a celebrity, but if you could just identify them. So like we have customers who use like our product, the Shop Quiz, but they also use other products to go and identify who are their influencers, who are their evangelists. There's cool products that do that. And then you go and leverage them to go and spread the word. And, a lot of companies I see when they first launch their brand, they rely either on ads or they're relying on like word of mouth, or they're relying on influencers. There's just a ton of different channels. And for each brand, it might be different. For some brands, it might actually be starting out B2B, selling to like companies, where then those consumers know about the product and then it goes out from there. And it just, again, depends on the product. There's no one thing, one silver bullet, but definitely as you're going and doing that thing, like make sure you're collecting the data as much as you can, get the contact info. That's always a slimming mistake, especially if you're doing prospecting ads. You need to, as much as possible at every stage, just to get any contact info, an email, a phone number, some kind of opt-in, so that you can do any of the retention things. That's where the money disappears. So no matter which channel you do.
So I would say pretty much 101 in terms of customer acquisition and retention is email marketing, right? I mean, we get a list and you keep emailing them. So I know we talked about this briefly on our discovery call the other day, and we talked about it being a big tool and segmenting your lists and how often is the right amount to email. And I just love to touch on that briefly. I know, Emmett, you had said if you need new business, go to old business. So maybe we can start there. You can tell us kind of how often you think is the right amount to email, and how do you think about segmenting your list? And let's just spend a few minutes on this.
Yeah, I was saying, coming from the anecdote or metaphor, or whatever analogy from the agency world, if whoever's like, okay, got to meet like our monthly goal, it's harder to go out and acquire a new contract and sign it all good versus calling some of the people that you have a good relationship with and try to get a project or money or a scope signed there. And I think it carries over for customers as well. It's really hard to acquire a new customer. But once you go through that process and bring them in, if you treat them right and continue to offer them good content, you're more likely to be able to get them to come back and purchase from you more. And so, coming from, again, the Gin Lane side, we didn't do email marketing, retention marketing. It's not that I didn't know or respect it, I just didn't understand it. And so for us doing Pattern, it's been a pretty fun learning curve of bringing some great people on board and seeing how powerful it is. I think it's a real backbone for the e-commerce industry. And I personally have spent a lot of time just learning and trying to observe, how, there's people who have purchased, people who haven't purchased, but are highly engaged, people that are brought in from brand collaborations, from promotions. And the more organized you can get of where the people are coming in, the more that you can offer a personalized experience per who that type of person is and what they're looking for. Last thing I'll say, I'm not trying to talk too much, but I was asking our retention marketing manager, who's way smarter at this than I am. Her name's Brittany Lima, and she's great. And she was just saying, I was saying, like, what could you tell like small business people that would be helpful, that don't have a highfalutin tech team or, can get the best agencies? And she's like, just be organized and automate this stuff as much as possible, and you can use MailChimp, you can use simple mailing services and the tools they provide. You can know where people are coming from, and you can automate email series to them that feel really personalized, but you don't have to sit there and write every single one.
Right. That's exactly what we do. So we use MailChimp, and we have been doing online for 10 years. So I was originally just I would have my cadence of emails. It was 2 to 3 emails a week, and it was working for us, and we were checking the analytics on it, but I was sending everyone the same email. And then we started getting into segueing into these different groups. So someone who ordered vegan obviously might not be interested in some of these other items. So I'm just spamming them. So instead of just going one by one, and personalizing and driving yourself crazy, you can't when you've got thousands of people on an email list. But what we can do is I can say these customers targeted vegan last time, so we have this new vegan launch. How about we just send them products for vegan? Or how about we give them a special code on certain vegan products if they haven't ordered in a while? It makes a huge difference, and the customer notices that you are listening to their spending patterns, and they're more interested in what you're sending them, so that they're going to engage a lot more. And then something else that we've started doing recently is SMS, and then we can get into that. I don't want to like jump ahead, but that's another thing that helps just strengthen that acquisition. And I'm sure that we'll talk about it later, but MailChimp, it's all there. The tools are there for you. You just need to know how to use it. It's very smart. It's like the Apple of mail programs. I feel like very user-friendly.
Brian, you look like you want to say something.
Yeah, I love where you guys are going with that about looking at buyers' behaviors, because ultimately, like, one of the top questions we get, and we are a platform that a lot of clients who come off MailChimp go to, like MeUndies, but a lot of times one of the questions we'll get is, how often should I be emailing my customers? And in some ways, that's sort of the backwards of the right question, right? Which is, what are their behaviors showing you how often they want to hear from you? Because, invariably you're going to have some merchandising campaigns, let's say, where, it could be a special holiday or you have inventory you need to move. But like a lot of what we're seeing clients do is when they're creating triggered campaigns, those are being initiated by a high intent action, right? Like abandoning a cart, browse abandon, or let's say if they signed up or favorited an item, it's back in stock. That's less about the marketer saying, oh, I want to send 1 email a week, 3 emails a day. It's about saying this customer is showing me by their behaviors that they are interested in this. And so when we've seen, companies kind of turn the binoculars around and really look at responding to buyer signals, so here's that item you favorited. There's 10 in your size. It's back in stock. I mean, those emails are, wildly successful, places like Revolve and so forth.
Great. Excuse me. All right. Well, I think this is a good segue into going into kind of the different channels and how you can unify them and make sure that you have a unified message on all platforms. And I think customer data obviously is extremely important. And Ben and Brian, you're both experts on that. So Ben, I would love to know from you, how do you think customer data helps retention? And how does your company help do so?
So a lot of brands, everyone out there, literally we're just having the conversation in the last panel about this, which is like the problem everyone's starting to face is that the data privacy laws are changing, and that e-commerce brands have traditionally rented their relationships from companies like Facebook and Google, a lot of the data for targeting and things like that. iOS privacy changes, Google changes, they're already starting to have an impact. The impact's only starting to get worse now as we get farther away from customers like not opting in for getting tracked, which of course they don't want to be tracked. So what's the solution to it? The solution is to directly collect data, have it in organized, and then leverage it across the different products and the different channels you use. Leverage it from across email, across SMS, so that it is unified in terms of a conversation. I like to say it needs to what would a human do? It needs to sound like a human is talking to you, not like a robot. And so Octane AI, in particular, we power these products that do this direct data collection from customers, not just here's a click thing kind of thing here or there, but what kind of skin do you have? What kind of products are you looking for? Are you buying for your cat or for your dog? What's the skin type? What are your allergies? Questions and answers and data that you cannot get any other way unless you actually just go and directly ask. And so that's what we've been doing. We have a product that we launched last year. I can see Marius and the Tracy Martin team are talking about the shop quiz. You can even try it on their website, where it will let them ask questions of their customers, recommend products, make for a better relationship, drive huge increases in conversion rates. But also at the same time, now they've collected this, what we call zero-party data, this direct data that they can go and leverage across. We actually announced a new product yesterday, and I'll stop talking, called conversational pop-ups. So traditional pop-ups on most e-commerce websites are hey, I'm going to give you a 10% discount. Now imagine you walk into a store and someone did that. You'd just be why are you doing that to me? Versus asking me what I'm looking for, what I need. And so we have a lot of customers who are trying and using our conversational pop-ups feature, which asks a question first in a pop-up, what are you looking for? What are you trying to buy? You can actually try it also on the Tracy Martin website. We have dozens of customers who are trying it. There's an early access program. So it asks a question, and then it collects the contact info, and then it recommends products right from within the pop-up itself. And what we've seen is a 4 to 6x increase in conversion rates and opt-ins as a result of doing that. But also now they've collected data they couldn't collect before. And in terms of the email piece, now their emails and their SMS messages from the moment that person has touched that pop-up are automatically segmented. The welcome series is segmented in a way that wasn't doable before. And so the future is just deeper segmentation, using that data across your channels. That's it.
Wow, that's really cool. And Brian, how does my assumption, Ben, is that you collect the data for your clients, right? And you organize it, and you then provide them with all of the answers and everything.
Yeah, we provide them with the ability to go and leverage it either on our platform or connecting it to other platforms. So our first partner for email, for example, we don't do email. We connect it with Klaviyo. We're a big Klaviyo partner, so they can send that info into Klaviyo and do that segmentation. We definitely are doing with a lot of other awesome people who to email, to do SMS, because data should not just be siloed in one place. You should be able to leverage it everywhere.
That's great. And Brian, do you want to talk a little bit about your company and kind of how you see it?
Yeah, sure. I think there's a window here of opportunity over the next 18 to 24 months to take all of your data and to really enrich a profile of your customer, right? Because we're recognizing it's going to get harder, most likely, almost certainly, to be able to track some of those signals when your customer is telling you, here's what I'm interested in. Here's when I might be interested in my spend level, propensity to spend. All these things are going to get a little harder to track over time. And then to be able to know who they are across the different devices and browsers. So a lot of what we do is enable customers to be able to put those pieces together, right? So enrich that profile. So using our identity graph offering, be able to understand in a non-creepy way, subscribers only, who your customers are if they've switched devices or browsers. To be able to collect that data like Ben's talking about at the points of interactions, what items they've looked at, begin to append those to the record. And ultimately it becomes kind of like changing the conversation, right? Because sometimes the conversations we have are, do you want to buy something? You know, like if someone comes to our site, and real human conversations are multidimensional, right? We're sensitive to like timing, right? So if someone just purchased and they're awaiting their item, it's really frustrating to keep opening your brand's emails as they keep offering you stuff. Whereas like you could just have a little data flag, like they haven't received it, we're going to pause promotional, right? So I think a lot of the platforms out there, and I do work for a vendor, of course, obviously disclaimer, but are kind of one-dimensional, right? So you abandon a cart, we're sending you a message. And I think more intelligent brands are going to be multi-dimensional. You abandon a cart, we haven't received your item, we're not going to send it. Or you abandon a cart and you're a loyal member. So we're not just going to hit you with it. We're going to say, hey, do you want to use your loyalty points on this product, right? Multi-dimensional, being thoughtful about what else do I know about this customer? What would be the right timing? What would be the offer that would make sense based on the history of our relationship together? So that all gets back to data.
Awesome. There was a community question that was asked. So would love to know, let's hear from Dana and Emmett a little bit. What platform and channel is the strongest for you guys in terms of retention? Anyone want to go first?
Yeah, I'll go, and then we'll leave some room for Dana. Right now, we're moving everything over to Klaviyo, and we also use Attentive for SMS, and then we're hooked into the Shopify ecosystem. So a lot of defaults there. I think I'd love to hear from Dana, but I think also SMS has been pretty fun to be doing stuff with. I personally love SMS, but I think, we've seen it very small in terms of the composite for what we do, but the engagement rates, the click-through rates, the conversion rates are really, really high. But you have to be careful to not stress people out on it. But yeah, hopefully that's a helpful answer.
Yeah, I mean, we use MailChimp. We do Attentive also for our SMS, and we are also plugged into Shopify, and they all work really well with each other. I find that SMS is something that people are doing a lot of. We make it so that you have to opt in. I personally feel violated when I get a text that I didn't sign up for, and they're texting me at all hours. And they're spamming me. I'm getting it too much, even from the doctor's office. I'm like, get away, just.
Yeah, I get it from my dentist.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm stop. I'm always opting out. But I use SMS as a way to do things as maybe I'm doing a VIP. So I'll have a happy hour. If you follow me on Instagram, I love a cocktail. I'm all about the happy hour. So I will do a happy hour to our VIP SMS list. And that's how I treat it, as a VIP list. I'll give them a 30% off code randomly. Or if I'm pushing a new product or it's a holiday, I'm like, okay, guess what? Here's a special code just for you. It's available for 3 hours. It's happy hour. Something like that, which is creative. They know that I'm never just going to send them a random text about a product. It's always something that's going to benefit them. And for us, anytime we have a sale or there's a discount code, the interaction is a lot more, we're selling a lot more, the conversion is there. So I use that as a great way. Or if I'm doing a sale, I'm a 1 hour reminder type of situation. So it's been really great for us. We've been using it now for about 2 months, and the conversion's awesome. So I'm here for it. They all work very well with each other.
We do have a question from the audience. Emmett, did you not like the options for SMS on Klaviyo itself?
So we've just started on, on Attentive, and then we're on Iterable for email, currently moving to Klaviyo or going through that migration stuff right now. So maybe when we're fully on, there, we can explore that and test that out. I'm agnostic of things. It's just whatever makes the most sense, so I'm kind of always just test, and see what feels comfortable for your team and your customers.
Yep.
I'll just add here that there are just a lot, if it's okay, there's just a lot of great products for doing things like that over SMS. Obviously, Cordial here, Klaviyo is a great product, PostScript's a great product, Zendesk is a great product. This is honestly, I've talked to a lot of merchants about this. This is just more about like, you know, personal feel. For some, they want to have it in one platform. For one, there's a feature or two that each has that they prefer. You cannot go wrong as long as you're just doing it. Get the phone numbers now. Doesn't matter how.
That's great. So we're running out of time. I mean, if there's any sort of like one message you guys could give to a small business in terms of how to increase retention, just like if there's one thing that you think that they should be doing, I'd love to know what it is. Like just kind of quick fire. Or if you prefer how to acquire a customer quickly, is it have a referral program? Make sure you do this. Just like one thing, if we could do really fast. Let's start with Dana. Sorry to put you on the spot. Does anyone else want to start?
One thing. Let me go second because I have like a million. Let me just think about one good thing. I'm gonna go.
Okay, Emmett.
That was funny. I would say if I had one thing for, you know, small, you know, medium business size owner operators, e-com world, is clean up and segment who your users are, and just organize where they're coming from and what their behaviors are. I think if you can get that in a good organized place, what you can do from that is very smart and powerful.
So knowing where they came from and organizing it like that.
Yeah, versus just a batch default list, right? Like that's kind of the default, you know. And so I'm saying just work to clean up your room first before you interior decorate.
Got it. Dana?
Okay, and then to second that, going second, I'm going to say just make sure that you're giving them great content. Make sure it's something that they really want so that they want to engage with you more, because if you spam them on day one, they're going to be like, peace out.
Yep.
You're going to lose them forever.
Ben?
Stop renting your relationship with your customer. You know, the moment you can get that email or phone number, you can do a lot more. We have like a customer Doe Lashes where they use the like shop quiz, and 40% of all the emails they collect come from it. But they moved away from relying on ads, and they relied on their influencers. They relied on their organic. They relied on their content. They relied on all the things that like TikTok and all the things that everyone else is talking here. But stop renting your relationship, because you will not be able to rent that thing anymore. And the rent is becoming sky high.
Okay, we're getting kicked off. Brian, you have 10 seconds.
Yeah, build a high value trigger for each step of the customer journey. Turn from you pushing messages to them, pulling messages out of you that are valuable to them.
Wow, that was great. Guys, thank you so much for your time. That was really insightful. I hope everyone learned a lot. It was great chatting with you. We could talk for another hour, but Julia's here and we're off.
Thank you so much. Stop renting your relationships. I love that. I was taking notes. So many great insights shared.